Hello, welcome to Sheep and Law. My name is Sheepwave, aka Sheep, aka Sheep from Sheep and Law, being one half of Sheep and Law, the other half being Taylor, who is the law. I'm also named Alex, and I've never played Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion before. Now's the time to play it. I haven't even loaded this up yet, so if it doesn't work, this is still what the video is. Also, Taylor, get wrecked. I get to make my Oblivion video first. You don't even get to make yours first on the channel. I win. Oh god. Subtitle visibility, sure. Master volume, stereo's fine. English, text size, medium, large. That's not much of a difference. That's crazy. Okay. Why does it feel like my voice is gone? That hasn't been the case today, but now it is. Hello, test 1 2. Is my voice okay? I don't know. We'll stick with middle of the road because I've never played this game, Taylor. I've never played this game before. Bethesda. So it's crazy that they just dropped this. They just dropped this randomly, shadow dropped it, as it were, as if it were a hedgehog. Do you get the joke? No? Okay, shut up. Shut up. Whoa. Okay. End User License Agreement, or the EULA. You should carefully read the entire following End User License Agreement before buying, downloading, installing, using, or playing the game as defined below, or any related software and/or content. Okay, that makes sense. We should definitely read this. This agreement contains important terms that affect your legal rights. By buying, downloading, installing, using, or playing the game, you agree to be bound by all the terms of this agreement. If you do not agree to all the terms of this agreement, please do not, and you are not permitted to, download, install, use, or play the game. By downloading, installing, using, or playing the game, you confirm that you have read this End User License Agreement, the ZeniMax Terms of Service, and the ZeniMax Media Privacy Policy, and that you agree to the terms in this agreement and the terms of service, collectively this agreement. You further acknowledge and understand that ZeniMax will process your personal information in accordance with the ZeniMax Media Privacy Policy, available at https://bethesda.net/document/privacy policy, close parentheses. I don't think I said the opening parentheses, sorry. Opening parentheses, available at https://bethesda.net/document/privacy-policy, close parentheses, period. If you do not accept the terms of this agreement, or you have not read and understood the ZeniMax Media Privacy Policy, do not download, install, or use the game. For ease of reference, the ZeniMax Terms of Service may be found at https://bethesda.net/document/terms-of-service. This agreement is between you and ZeniMax Media Incorporated, including its parent and affiliate companies, collectively ZeniMax. As set out in section 1, open parentheses, collectively, comma, ZeniMax in quotations, close parentheses, period. As set out in Section 1 of the Terms of Service, if you are a resident in the EEA, United Kingdom, Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, Turkey, Japan, or Brazil, ZeniMax acknowledges that there are certain guarantees, warranties, terms, and conditions, open parentheses, including in respect of refunds and returns and unfair terms, close parentheses, imposed by the laws relating to the supply of goods, services, and digital content, which the laws expressly provide, that may not be excluded, restricted, or modified, or may only be limited to a certain extent, open parentheses, the quotation statutory obligations. Sorry, let me get that again for you. We need to go back just a little bit. Restricted or modified, or may only be limited to a certain extent, open parentheses, the quotations statutory obligations, quotation, close parentheses, period. Nothing in this EULA excludes, restricts, or modifies the statutory obligations otherwise than according to such laws. Photosensitivity warning. A very small percentage of individuals may a very small percentage of individuals may experience seizures or blackouts when exposed to certain visual images, including, without limitation, light patterns or flashing lights. Even people who have no history of seizures or epilepsy may have an undiagnosed condition that can cause these quotations photosensitive epileptic seizures, close quotations, while playing the game. If you experience any of the following symptoms while playing the game, immediately discontinue use and consult your physician before resuming play. Blackouts, seizures, dizziness, altered vision, eye or muscle twitches, jerking or shaking of arms or legs, loss of awareness, disorientation, confusion, any involuntary movement, or convulsions. This is what about stuttered speech and inability to read certain words? Disputes provision. The ZeniMax terms of service contain a dispute resolution binding arbitration and class action waiver provision. Open parentheses, the quotation disputes provision, close quote, close parentheses, comma, that dash, if you reside in a jurisdiction outside of the EEA dash United Kingdom dash Switzerland dash Australia dash New Zealand dash Turkey dash Japan or Brazil that permits class actions or other collective disputes, affects your rights under the ZeniMax terms of service and this EULA with respect to disputes you may have with ZeniMax. That disputes provision is incorporated into this EULA by this reference and forms a part of this EULA as if such provision were fully restated in this EULA. You may opt out of the binding individual arbitration and class action waiver as provided in the ZeniMax terms of service. Any and all uses of the game are governed by the terms of this EULA and the ZeniMax terms of service, open parentheses, collectively, the quotations agreement, close quotations, close parentheses, period. To play the game, you must A, in parentheses, obtain the ZeniMax access to the game, and B, in parentheses, download the game client, open parentheses, as defined below, close parentheses, or C, in parentheses, play the game via a third-party streaming service. The ZeniMax terms of service are hereby incorporated into and form a part of this EULA by this reference as if such provisions were fully restated in this EULA. The EULA constitutes quotations supplemental terms, close quotation, as contemplated by the ZeniMax terms of service. The game is made available and distributed solely for the use by authorized end users according to the terms of this agreement. Any use, reproduction, modification, or distribution of the game not expressly authorized by the terms of this agreement is expressly prohibited. You agree that the game client, other game-related software, content, open parentheses, as defined in the terms of service, close parentheses, specific to the game, and your access to and use of the game are all a quotation service, close quotations. For the purposes of this agreement, any rights not granted to you in this agreement are reserved by ZeniMax. You acknowledge that ZeniMax may process your personal information in accordance with the ZeniMax media privacy policy, which is available at https://bethesda.net/document/privacy policy, and you agree to the ZeniMax code of conduct, which is available at https://bethesda.net/document/code-of-conduct. Open parentheses, quotation, code of conduct, close quotation, close parentheses, period. The code of wait, I didn't get the dash in the privacy policy one, so we have to start this whole thing over. You acknowledge that ZeniMax may process your personal information in accordance with the ZeniMax media privacy policy, which is available at https://bethesda.net/document/privacy-policy, and you agree to the ZeniMax code of conduct, which is available at https://bethesda.net/document/code-of-conduct, open parentheses, open quote, code of conduct, close quote, close parentheses, period. The Code of Conduct is incorporated into this EULA by this reference and forms a part of the agreement as if it were fully restated in this EULA. All personal information collected and processed by ZeniMax in connection with this agreement will be collected and processed in accordance with the ZeniMax Media Privacy Policy. You should save a copy of this EULA, the Terms of Service, the Privacy Policy, and the Code of Conduct for your records and for future reference. All software let me scroll down a bit. All software programs and any and all files that are delivered to you or made available to you by ZeniMax, directly or indirectly through a ZeniMax authorized reseller or distributor, open parentheses, via on-line access, transmission, download, or otherwise, close parentheses, including any quotation patcher, close quotation, installer in quotation, and any updates and modifications to such software programs, and any and all copies and derivative works of such software programs, open parentheses, collectively with the game client, more parentheses, defined below, close parentheses, the quotation game, close quotation, close parentheses, period, are the copyrighted works of ZeniMax and its affiliates. Why was there a period there? The game is licensed, not sold, to you. That's kind of stupid. 1. Oh, good. We're past the preamble. 1. Limited license restrictions and ownership. If you agree to this agreement, you may download and install or stream the computer software of the game, open parentheses, hereafter referred to as the quotation game client, close quotation, close parentheses, onto your computer and or console for the sole purpose of playing the game. Subject to your compliance with all the terms and conditions in this agreement, ZeniMax hereby grants, and you hereby accept, a limited, non-transferable, non-exclusive license, A in parentheses, to install the game client on one or more computers and / or consoles owned by you or under your legitimate control, and B in parentheses, to use the game client solely as part of the service for your non-commercial entertainment purposes only. The ZeniMax Terms of Service include terms and conditions applicable to virtual currency, open parentheses, as such term as defined in the ZeniMax Terms of Service, close parentheses, including terms that grant you a non-exclusive limited license for virtual currency. Such terms and conditions apply to the virtual currency, open parentheses, if any, close parentheses, licensed to you for use with the game. Subject to the statutory obligations, open parentheses, as defined in Section 1 of the Terms of Service, close parentheses. This agreement does not give you any right to obtain reissues or replacements of the game at any time, and ZeniMax is not obliged to supply software updates, upgrades, or expansions for the game, or even to operate or continue to support the game for an indefinite period. That's not what that said. As further described in the ZeniMax Terms of Service, but subject to the statutory obligations, as open parentheses, as defined in Section 1 of the ZeniMax Terms of Service, close parentheses, ZeniMax may change, modify, suspend, or discontinue any aspect of the game at any time, and ZeniMax may also impose limits on certain features or restrict your access to parts or all of the game without notice or liability. In all cases, the licenses granted to you in this agreement will terminate upon the earlier of what? In all cases, the licenses granted to you in this agreement will terminate upon the earlier of termination of this agreement, deletion of the game from your device, parenthesis, S, close parentheses, or termination of your Bethesda.net account with ZeniMax if applicable. The ZeniMax Terms of Service include terms and conditions applicable to user-generated content, downloadable content, and other content, and you agree to comply with such terms and conditions. 2. Software updates and anti-cheating and security tools. ZeniMax may deploy or provide patches, updates, improvements, upgrades, and modifications to the game, open parentheses, quotations, updates, close quotations, close parentheses, that must be installed by you in the manner described by ZeniMax in its discretion before you may continue to play the game. All such updates are part of the game for purposes of this agreement, the licenses granted to you, and the license limitations set forth in this agreement. The terms of this agreement will govern any updates provided by ZeniMax that replace and / or supplement the original game, unless such unless such updates are accompanied by a separate license agreement, in which case the terms of that license agreement will govern. ZeniMax has implemented tools and software designed to detect and prevent cheating and fraud. Open parentheses, open quotation, anti-cheat tools, close quotations, close parentheses, semicolon. These technologies may scan any computer or device from which you download or play the game to detect or identify any programs or processes designed to, quote, cheat, close quote, gain an unfair advantage in the game or otherwise circumvent any security, anti-cheat, or fraud detection processes, or tools we have implemented, open parentheses, open quotation, cheat programs, close quote, close parentheses. By using or downloading the game or accepting this agreement, you acknowledge and expressly agree to the access to your computer or device by these anti-cheat tools to identify or detect cheat programs. Number 3, limitations and restrictions. Don't worry, we're almost halfway there. Certain features of the game are a service offered by ZeniMax and may only be downloaded online. In such cases, an internet connection, open parentheses, which is not supplied by ZeniMax, close parentheses, is required to access these features. You are responsible for all costs and expenses associated with acquiring any hardware software, open parentheses, e.g. internet browsers, close parentheses, or other products or services required to play the game. In addition to the restrictions, conditions, and limitations set forth in the ZeniMax terms of service and the ZeniMax Code of Conduct, the license granted to you in this EULA is subject to the conditions, restrictions, and limitations set forth in Section 1 and this Section 3 of this EULA, open parentheses, collectively, the quotation, license limitations, close quotations, close parentheses. Any use of the game in violation of the license limitations will be regarded as an infringement of ZeniMax's copyrights in and to the game and will be a breach of this agreement. You agree that you will not assist any other person under any circumstances to A, in whole or in part, distribute, publicly perform, or display, sell, transmit, publish, edit, reproduce, sub-license, rent, lease, loan, or otherwise transfer the game or content, including without limitation any access keys. B, in whole or in part, modify, adapt, translate, reverse engineer, attempt to derive source code from, modify, disassemble, decompile, or create derivative works based on the game, provided, however, that you may make one, parentheses, number 1, close parentheses, copy of the game client and the manuals that accompany it for archival purposes only, and you may install the relevant game client on one or more computers, consoles, or devices owned by you and under your legitimate control as described in Section 1 above. C, remove any proprietary notices or labels on the game, or attempt in any manner to circumvent any security measures designed to control access to the game or any part thereof. D, use cheats, automation software, open parentheses, bots, close parentheses, hacks, mods, or any other unauthorized third-party software designed to modify the game or adversely impact any other person's playing of the game or their experience of playing the game. E, exploit the game or any of its parts, including without limitation the game client for any commercial purpose, open parentheses, including without limitation renting, leasing, or licensing the game to others, close parentheses, including without limitation A in parentheses for gathering virtual currency, open parentheses, as defined in the ZeniMax terms of service, close parentheses, items or resources for sale outside of the game, or B in parentheses, performing in-game services in exchange for payment outside of the game, e.g. power leveling. F, use any unauthorized third-party software that intercepts, mines, in quotations, or otherwise collects information from or through the game or the service, including without limitation any software that reads areas of RAM used by the game to store information about a character or the game environment, provided, however, that ZeniMax may, in its sole and absolute discretion, allow the use of certain third-party user interfaces and other third-party software. G, modify or cause to be modified any files that are part of the game and / or game client in any way not expressly authorized by ZeniMax. H, host, provide, or develop matchmaking services for the game or intercept, emulate, or redirect any, or not any, sorry, we had to start that over. H, host, provide, or develop matchmaking services for the game or intercept, emulate, or redirect the communication protocols used by ZeniMax in any way for any purposes, including without limitation, unauthorized play over the internet, network play, or as part of content aggregation networks. I facilitate, create, or maintain any unauthorized connection to the game or the service, including without limitation, A in parentheses, any connection to any unauthorized server that emulates or attempts to emulate the service, and B in parentheses, any connection using programs or tools not expressly approved by ZeniMax. J. Take any action or upload, post, transmit, promote, or distribute any illegal content. K. Take any action or upload, post, transmit, promote, or distribute any content that infringes on or violates any third-party rights. L. Engage in, take any action associated with, or participate in any form of child solicitation. Okay, we're gonna just jump over that one. You can read it there, but I'm not gonna say those words because YouTube will not like it. M. Harass, stalk, threaten, embarrass, spam, or do anything else to another user of the game that is unwanted, such as repeatedly sending unwanted messages or making personal attacks or statements about race, sexual orientation, religion, heritage, etc. N. Take any action to, or upload, post, transmit, distribute, or communicate your or any person's real-world personal information. O. Impersonate any person or entity, including but not limited to ZeniMax, ZeniMax's partners, or affiliates' employees, or falsely state or otherwise misrepresent your affiliation with a person or entity. P. Take any action, organize, transmit any content, effectuate, or participate in any activity, group, or guild that is harmful, torturous, abusive, hateful, open parentheses, have I missed any parentheses? I haven't said any of them in a while. I don't think so. I think I'm good. Open parentheses, including hate speech, close quotation, close parentheses, racially, ethnically, religiously, or otherwise offensive, obscene, threatening, bullying, vulgar, sexually explicit, defamatory, libellous, infringing, invasive of personal privacy or publicity rights, encourage conduct that would violate a law or is, in a reasonable person's view, objectionable, and / or deemed to be in the sole discretion of ZeniMax and inappropriate. I need some water. Oh. Q. Promote, upload, transmit, encourage or take part in any activity involving hacking, cracking, phishing, taking advantage of exploits or cheats, and / or distribution of counterfeit software and / or virtual currency or virtual items. In an effort to continuously improve the game, you and other users / players discovering exploits, cheats, cracks, or other inconsistencies are required to report them to ZeniMax, or R, take any action or upload, post, transmit, promote, or distribute any content that may contain a Trojan horse, virus, worm, spyware, time bombs, cancel bots, corrupted data, and other computer programs that you do not own or have permission to freely distribute that may damage, interfere with, intercept, expropriate, or disrupt the game. Any attempt to do any of the foregoing is a breach of this agreement and may be a violation of intellectual property rights in the game. If you breach these restrictions, you may be subject to prosecution and damages. The game is licensed to you as a single product, and its component parts may not be separated for use on more than one computer or device. The game is licensed, not sold. Your license confers no title or ownership in the game or copies thereof. Okay, so we're on 4. How many things are there? 14 things. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. We can do that. Number 4, ownership of the game. ZeniMax and its licensors are and will continue to be the owner, open parentheses, S, close parentheses, of all right, title, and interest in and to the game and the service, including, without limitation, all intellectual property rights and moral rights in and to the game and all copies thereof, open parentheses, including without limitation any titles, software, programs, and code, game-related themes, characters' names, Character names, character likenesses, stories, dialogue, catchphrases, locations, concepts, artwork, character inventories, structural, landscape, and other designs in the game, animations, sounds, musical compositions, and recordings, audio-visual effects, storylines, methods of operation, and any related documentation, close parentheses. You shall take no action inconsistent with such title or ownership. The game is protected by the copyright laws of the United States, international treaties and conventions, and other laws. The game may contain materials licensed by third parties, and the licensors of those materials may enforce their rights in the event of any violation of this agreement. I'm so yawn. You acknowledge and agree that you have no interest, monetary or otherwise, in any feature or content contained in the game. This paragraph will survive the termination of this agreement. Number 5, collection and processing of personal information. ZeniMax will process your personal information in accordance with the ZeniMax Media Privacy Policy. Open, is that bracket? No. Yeah, bracket, because the other one's curly brackets, so that's bracket, yeah. Open bracket https://bethesda.net/document/privacy-policy closed bracket. And we will also use cookies, web beacons, and other analytic technologies, open parentheses together, quotation cookies, close quotations herein, close parentheses, and similar mechanisms, including those provided by third parties, to collect, store, and transmit information related to your usage of the service in order to operate, improve, and optimize the service and our other products, to analyze usage, to personalize your experiences using the service, and otherwise in accordance with the ZeniMax Media Privacy Policy. You expressly acknowledge that you have read and understood the ZeniMax Media Privacy Policy, open bracket https://bethesda.net/document/privacy-policy, close bracket, which explains how we may collect, use, disclose, and otherwise process data about you, open parentheses, including personal information, close parentheses. ZeniMax Cookie Policy, open bracket https://bethesda.net/document/cookie policy, close bracket, which sets forth our use of cookies and your options regarding the same. I'm out of water. All I have is ice. I'm gonna throw some ice down my gullet. Not as effective as water. Okay, we're getting close. Don't worry, guys. ZeniMax reserves the right to disclose any information ZeniMax deems necessary to ensure your ensure your compliance with this agreement. in parentheses, satisfy any applicable law, regulation, or legal process, and in parentheses, protect the rights, property, and interests of ZeniMax, its employees, other users of the game, or the public. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at 6. Monitoring and updates. If you request any technical support from ZeniMax subject to your consent, ZeniMax may remotely access and review the computer or device onto which you have loaded the game client for purposes of providing technical support and debugging. As further described in the ZeniMax Terms of Service, ZeniMax may update the game remotely, including without limitation, the game client residing on your computer, console, or device, and you hereby grant to ZeniMax your consent to deploy and apply such updates. You understand and agree that in parentheses, any and all game-related character data may be stored and may be resident on ZeniMax computers and servers, and B in parentheses, if applicable, any and all communications that you make with the game traverse through ZeniMax computers and servers may or may not be monitored by ZeniMax or ZeniMax's agents. You expressly consent to such monitoring of such communications that you send and receive. The ZeniMax terms of service and the ZeniMax media privacy policy include further terms and conditions applicable to the accessing, monitoring, and recording of activities and communications on the relating to the service, including but not limited to collected and processed by ZeniMax as part of the activities set out in this section 6 will be collected and processed in accordance with the ZeniMax media privacy policy, open bracket https://bethesda.net/document/privacy-policy, close bracket, and the terms of the agreement. Number 7, termination. This EULA starts at the time you accept this EULA, and it will remain effective until terminated. You may terminate this EULA at any time by I in parentheses, permanently destroying all copies of the game in your possession or control, and II in parentheses, removing the game client from your hard drive, console, or device. Subject to the statutory obligations, open parentheses, as defined in Section 1 of the ZeniMax Terms of Service, close parentheses, ZeniMax may terminate this EULA at any time for any reason and no reason, open parentheses, including at such time as ZeniMax elects to discontinue offering the game, close parentheses. Upon termination by ZeniMax for any reason, all licenses granted in this agreement, open parentheses, including in the ZeniMax Terms of Service, close parentheses, with respect to the game that is the subject of this EULA shall immediately terminate, and you must immediately do I in parentheses and II in parentheses above. Termination for no reason will be communicated to you by ZeniMax. Number 8, export restrictions. The game may not be exported, re-exported, downloaded, or otherwise transferred, open parentheses, collectively, and quotation export, close quotation, close parentheses, I in parentheses, to or into any country which requires an export license or which the United States government prohibits exports, including any such country subject to economic sanctions, or II in parentheses, to any person or entity prohibited from receiving goods or services of U.S. origin you represent and warrant that you are not located in, under the control of, or a national or resident of any such country or on any such list. This Section 8 will survive the termination of this agreement. Hey, I'm going to go grab some water real quick, and then we'll continue on with the game. That's so much better. I feel like I can go a whole nother quarter of reading, which is good, because we're about to do a whole nother quarter of reading. Number 9, warranty. Let me get some more water. Yeah. If you, the original purchaser, purchased the game on a physical media, open parentheses, such as a disc, close parentheses, your use of the game is subject to the limited warranty included with the manual or other packaging material that came with your purchase. The ZeniMax Terms of Service include provisions regarding the disclaimer of representations, warranties, and guarantees, open parentheses, subject to the statutory obligations, open parentheses, again, as defined in Section 1 of the ZeniMax Terms of Service, close parentheses, close parentheses. Oh, too much water too fast. And such provisions are incorporated into this EULA by this reference and form a part of this EULA as if such provisions were fully restated in this EULA. This Section 9 shall survive the termination of this agreement. With respect to software that is enabled for use on or over the internet, you acknowledge that ZeniMax is not responsible for the internet or whether it should continue to exist in its present form. ZeniMax is not responsible for the internet or whether it should continue to exist. Woo! Or whether it should continue to exist in its present form, or whether or not a government or governmental agency, either foreign or domestic, will control, regulate, or disband the internet. Use of the internet is at your sole risk. Why is this part of it? Woo! 10. Limitation of liability reimbursement. To the maximum extent permitted by applicable law and subject to the statutory obligations, open parentheses, as defined in Section 1 of the Terms of Service, close parentheses. In no event shall ZeniMax or any of ZeniMax's licensors be liable for any in parentheses, special, incidentals, consequential, punitive, exemplary, or other indirect damages, in parentheses, third-party claims, or III in parentheses, loss or damage to any systems, hardware or software, records or data, even if advised of or aware of the possibility of any such damages, and even if a limited remedy in this agreement fails of its essential purpose. Some jurisdictions do not allow the limitation or exclusion of liability. Accordingly, some of the above may not apply to you. The ZeniMax Terms of Service include other provisions regarding the limitation of liability and remedies, open parentheses, subject to the statutory obligations, open parentheses again, as defined in Section 1 of the ZeniMax Terms of Service, close parentheses, close parentheses. And such provisions are incorporated into this EULA by this reference and form a part of this EULA as if such provisions were fully restated in this EULA. Ooh. If in parentheses, you misuse the game service or breach this agreement, or II in parentheses, any contributions, actions, or omissions by you in connection with your use of the game, or / and service result in ZeniMax incurring any liabilities, damages, losses, costs, and / or expenses, open parentheses, including without limitation, attorney's fees and court costs, close parentheses, then you agree to reimburse ZeniMax and its affiliates and other participants of the service for all such liabilities, damages, losses, costs, and expenses. If a third - party sues ZeniMax for either or both of in parentheses or II in parentheses above, ZeniMax reserves the right to control the defense and settlement of such third - party lawsuit, and you agree to reimburse ZeniMax for the cost of the defense, including but not limited to reasonable documented attorney's fees. This Section 10 shall survive the termination of this agreement. Number 11. Changes to this agreement. ZeniMax may replace this EULA with new versions, open parentheses, each a quotation, open quotation, new EULA, close quotation, close parentheses, over time as the game and the law evolve. This EULA will terminate immediately upon the introduction of a new EULA, and you will be given an opportunity to review the new EULA in accordance with the change provisions set out in the ZeniMax Terms of Service. New EULAs will not be applied retroactively. Your continued use of the game and play of the game after a modification of the EULA will be deemed your acceptance of any modified terms. 12. U.S. government restricted rights. The game is a commercial item developed exclusively at private expense and comprised of open quotation, commercial computer software, close quotation, and open quotation, commercial computer software documentation, close quotation, as these terms are defined in the applicable acquisition regulations, including without limitation the Federal Acquisition Regulation, open parentheses, open quotation, FAR, close quotation, close parentheses, at 48 CFR 2.101. The game is licensed to U.S. government end users. Game is licensed to U.S. government end users subject to the terms of this agreement as specified in 48 CFR 12.212, open parentheses, computer software, close parentheses, and 12.211, open parentheses, technical data, close parentheses, open parentheses, for civilian agencies, close parentheses, and as specified in 48 CFR 227.7202-3 and 48 CFR 227.7202-4, consistent with 48 CFR 227.7202, open parentheses, for Department of Defense entities, close parentheses. solely with respect to the U.S. government's rights in the game. This U.S. government license rights clause is in lieu of and supersedes any other FAR, DFARS, or other clause or provision of the contract under which this game is obtained. The manufacturer is ZeniMax. You don't say. Oh my god, we're almost done. Governing law for residents of North America. This agreement and all disputes, open parentheses, as defined in the disputes provision, close parentheses, shall be governed by the laws of the state and Maryland, USA, excluding its conflicts of laws, rules, and principles that would result in another state or country's laws applying to this agreement or any disputes. If you reside outside of North America, then this agreement and all disputes shall be governed by the laws of England, excluding its conflicts of law, conflicts-of-law rules and principles that would result in another state or country's laws applying to this agreement or any disputes. Local mandatory laws may be applied, notwithstanding the disputes provision. You agree that ZeniMax shall be entitled to injunctive relief, specific performance, and equitable remedies with respect to breaches of sections 1 or 3 of this agreement, in addition to such other remedies as ZeniMax may otherwise have under applicable law. This section 13 will survive the termination of this agreement. Number 14, miscellaneous. This EULA, along with the ZeniMax Terms of Service and the ZeniMax Code of Conduct, constitutes... This is just going on. There's no need to read all this. Let's go ahead and... First, we have to invert y-axis. Okay, and let's start a new game. Yes, start a new game.
I was born 87 years ago.
I feel that. I feel that so hard.
For 65 years, I've ruled as Tamriel's emperor.
Okay, I don't feel that part.
But for all these years, I've never been the ruler of my own dreams.
No, okay, no, I feel that part now.
I have seen the gates of oblivion.
We have stuff in common. I haven't...
Which no waking eye may see. Behold, in darkness,
no, I don't want to.
Doom sweeps the land.
No, I thought Doom was a different game. Doom also has a game coming out soon, but you guys, sorry, ZeniMax, you guys beat them to the punch. Even though it's still all by Bethesda. Wow.
This is the 27th of last seed, the year of Akatosh 433.
You don't say.
These are the closing days of the third era.
Oh.
And the final hours of my life.
Oh, well, that's sad. But you are, you know, old. Pirates of the Caribbean. Reading all those terms of service and all that, I forgot what game I was playing. Whoa. Spinning. This is beautiful and all, but okay, here we go. Country should okay. Oh, it's time to make our character. Here we go. Okay. Natural immunity to poisons, breathe underwater, good at picking locks. Yes. All right, cool. We've
surely be dead, and in the halls of Azura to look upon such a vision. You are so...
But that's about all the time I have to play today. This is a good game so far. This is really fun.
Beautiful.
But I'll continue playing this, and I'll upload more of it to Sheep and Law. But thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, we've done a lot of crazy things so far already. This has been insane. Okay. Love you guys. Kisses. Have a good night.